Welcome to this week's meeting of the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley. Goals for our club are for education, entrepreneurship, and innovation. We use technology in our club as a means to, or a tool to meet our goals. And this week's meeting is a special with a special member of our club who is the president-elect of our club, and he has just obtained his or attended PETS, which is the president-elect training session in Zimbabwe, which will be quite a bit different from what most of us are used to in the United States. And I'm very much looking forward to listening to hearing him and to Tzviatko in particular to find out what differences there are between North America and Africa. And I'm also looking forward to hearing about his experience. And at this point in time, I would like to turn the meeting over to Tzviatko for his presentation.
Thanks so much, Roger. I appreciate it. So as Roger mentioned, my name is Tzviatko Chiderov. I'm the president-elect for our club, and I'm really excited to talk to all of you about my experience at PETS and a little bit about Rotary in Zimbabwe as well. So what I'm going to do is I'll share my screen here. And I have a bit of a presentation that I'd like to show. So let me present here. All right. All right, Roger, can you confirm that, that you can see presentation? Okay, cool. All right, so I will focus my presentation on my experience at PETS, which is the President-elect Training Seminar. And this is what all President-elects around the world for Rotary attend in preparation for their year as presidents, and it's a very helpful training session. So even though our club is based in the Silicon Valley, in District 5170, we since I am physically not based there, I thought it would be helpful to attend PETS in my actual physical location. I'm going to focus my presentation on two main things today. So first, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Rotary in Zimbabwe, which is where I'm located currently, and I spend most of my time here. And secondly, I want to talk more specifically about PETS and what I learned during that event. Let me just, okay, so first I'll talk to you about Rotary in Zimbabwe. Okay, went too fast here with the slides. All right, so Rotary in Zimbabwe actually belongs to District 9210. And this Rotary district encompasses 4 countries. So Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, and northern Mozambique. So over here on the map, you see Zambia, Zimbabwe, we have Malawi over here, the small country, and then we have Mozambique. And the district actually only goes to, it's only the northern part of Mozambique, so only goes to about here somewhere. But it's kind of interesting, where in the US we're used to districts encompassing, several cities, maybe in some cases a couple of states. In other parts of the world, they might include several countries, which is the case here. So I put some interesting statistics over here. We have, so in this district here, 9210, they have 56 clubs in total, and exactly half of those are in Zimbabwe. So Zimbabwe seems to be the most active presence Rotary-wise here. And Rotarians, about 1,200 Rotarians, and a little less than half of those are based in Zimbabwe. Now, just in the city of Harare, which is the capital of Zimbabwe, where I'm currently based, there's more than 10 clubs that are just here in Harare. So this is quite interesting as well. So speaking of Harare, what's very interesting about this city is that there's a there's a building in the very close to downtown Harare called the Rotary Center. And it's actually where nearly all of the Rotary clubs in Harare meet. So you can go there for lunch or dinner just about any day of the week, and you can meet Rotarians and attend a Rotary meeting. It's very cool. They have some nice Rotary memorabilia on the walls and different kind of art all related to Rotary. So very cool. A lot of Rotary history, I suppose, over here. And it's very centrally located. Now, since I've been here, I've met some Rotarians from traditional Rotary clubs. I've attended some Rotary meetings. But one of the more interesting encounters I had recently is I met someone from the Rotary. So her name is Tatenda, and she's the president-elect of the Rotary E-Club of District 9210. And we had a very nice conversation and kind of exchanging of best practices and how our E-Club works, how theirs works as well. And she shared a lot of the activities that they do locally, which is very cool. A lot of service projects. You see a couple of these pictures here. But what's really unique about this club, especially compared to ours, is that they do their meetings on Thursday evenings at an exact time, unlike our club, which is our members can do our meetings at any time, and they do them over WhatsApp, which is this messaging platform that probably most of you are familiar with. And I put a little screenshot here from a meeting that I was participating in. Well, not really participating in. I was sort of reading through, but it's very cool the way they do it. It's WhatsApp actually is incredibly popular here. Everybody uses it, and so they've made they're essentially using this very popular tool to conduct Rotary business and to do their meetings. So very cool. Another interesting thing about Rotary clubs here in Harare that I've noticed, especially over the past few days, is their response to disasters and how they come together to really help the people, help people in need, just like Rotarians do anywhere else in the world as well. So some of you may know about this tropical cyclone Idai. Recently happened in the southeastern part of Africa. So it affected several countries, including Zimbabwe. And so at the time of this recording, this cyclone had happened just a few days ago. And already there's all sorts of mobilization efforts happening by Rotary. You see some of the, these are just some of the posts and flyers that I have received through different messaging platforms. Most of them, again, sponsored by Rotary, volunteer projects, or calls for volunteers to help with different, packing and those sorts of things, or making donations of, soap or buckets or money. And so it's just been very, in the face of this terrible disaster, it's just been very heartwarming to see Rotarians come together and really help their community here. So now I'd like to move to the second part of my presentation, and I'll tell you a little bit about PETS. So I attended PETS here in Harare in the beginning of March, so on March 2nd. And this is a picture of some of the people that were there that day, and it was a one-day event. So unlike my understanding is that in our district, PETS is normally a several-day event. Here it's one day only, and there was about 50 people or so in attendance, and they were traveling from different parts of Zimbabwe. And there are a few different PETS trainings that happened throughout the district. From starting from February, I guess, for the following 2 months or so. And so I obviously attended the one in Harare, and Rotarians that belong to clubs that are closer by were able to travel here and do the PETS with me and other people from the city. So some of the things that were discussed we got to hear about Rotary International's theme and strategic plan and district goals. Those were issues that were discussed by the district governor-elect. There was also a presentation on different online tools that can be used for planning and all sorts of different things. There was a sharing of best practices. There was a presentation on public image and using Rotary branding. There was a very cool presentation as well on membership and engaging members more. And then the second half of the day was dedicated almost entirely to the Rotary Foundation, and then also talking about grants, whether it's the global grants or district grants. So I put a few pictures here. So this is actually Doug. He's the district governor-elect. He's from Zambia. As I mentioned, he talked about more of the vision of Rotary International and some of the learnings that he had from sessions that he had attended in the US. And he talked a little bit about very ambitious goals for the district. So I took some notes over here. He was there were goals in terms of increasing of membership and increasing donations to the Rotary Foundation and all this stuff. And it seems like the goals that he shared globally for Rotary International, he sort of doubled for the district here. So he seems like a very ambitious district governor, and his talk was very inspirational. It seemed like the other leaders in the room were quite moved by what he had to say and how he planned to achieve these ambitious goals. Now, there was a session as well on online tools, as I mentioned, and this was especially interesting for me as, the E-Club of Silicon Valley, we try to make use of technology as much as possible. So they talked about two main tools that they encouraged everybody to use. So one of them, it seems like, was specific to this district here, and it's called DACDB. I hadn't heard of it before. It's a district and club database, and they actually use it for all sorts of things, from keeping documentation about their meetings, different clubs, or service projects or newsletters, or information about the board and the different positions. And the second item that was discussed in terms of online tools was My Rotary and Club Central in particular. And this one, I think most of our members will be familiar with. It's the global tool for Rotary International. Now, for this particular tool, some of the things seem to be that are covered here seem to be similar to what DACDB is meant to do. So they do from what I understand, they do some kind of an integration process where they can synchronize both. But very cool that these online tools were very much promoted during the PETS training in terms of keeping the information current and the goals input in here, and as a cool way to see statistics on the club or the district, or more globally on Rotary. Now, as I mentioned, there were a few other things that were discussed, including the planning for the year, and what are some of the more important things to keep in mind. There were discussions about engaging members a bit more, and also improving the image of Rotary and maintaining a consistent brand. So I put a screenshot here from the brand center on My Rotary, so on Rotary.org. And this was something that I had heard of, but I never really had gone to explore very much. But apparently Rotary makes it very easy for us to get access to brand materials that we can use that could make sure that we promote the Rotary brand consistently, whether it's on our website or through other materials that we create. And there's also Rotary Club Health Check tool that allows us to go through a series of questions just to kind of take the pulse of our club and see if our members are engaged well enough and how things are going. So this is something that I will plan on going through a bit more deeply with some of the other members of the board. As I mentioned, the second half of this was almost entirely dedicated to the Rotary Foundation, district grants, global grants. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. I know we've had some presentation by someone much more qualified than me to talk about this, which is Cecilia. If you guys have any questions about the Rotary Foundation or district or global grants, feel free to direct them to Cecilia or to me. But we talked about this and some of the possibilities that exist in connecting clubs around the world, especially through global grants, and also the impact that the Rotary Foundation has really had around the world. But this is kind of it in a nutshell. The PETS training that I attended, and also a little bit of information about Rotary in Zimbabwe. I hope this was helpful. And I will stop sharing my screen now, so we can go to the Q&A. Roger, back to you.
Thank you, Tzviatko. First of all, I'll call for questions from either Raquel or from Shags in regards to the presentation.
Oh, that's a horrible picture. No questions. But anything you need as far as support from past presidents, you know who to reach out to.
That's awesome. Thanks. I appreciate it.
I've done it twice now, once in the internet age and once without.
Yeah, that's cool. I think any input would be very much appreciated. I'm going to talk a little bit about this a bit more in maybe a couple of months when we talk about the more specific plans for the next Rotary year, most likely at a recording after the Rotary International Convention happens. But one of my goals will be to really create a way for our members to be able to voice their concerns or to voice their ideas and suggestions in a more structured way at any time that they feel like it. In addition to, I mean, obviously now any of our members are welcome to send emails to anyone on the board or to leave a comment in the comment section for any of the programs with suggestions and things like that. But I think it would help to make that process a bit more formalized in terms of giving feedback and ideas. But Shags, I'll definitely reach out to you as someone who's a veteran in this role for ideas, suggestions, anything that can help me through this journey.
And I would second that as well, because as with Shags, both of us are two-time presidents. So anything that we can do to help you, just ask.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Raquel, do you have any questions of Tzviatko?
No question. I was actually really interested in knowing a little bit more about the pets in another country, as I was a former member of a district with multi-country district. We were 4 countries in one district, so yeah, it's almost the same things. They do the same things. They have a pets in each country.
Yeah.
And like 2 weeks ago, I was in this pets that gather 10 different districts in this huge event, 3-day event. So it was about 900 people. Yeah, it's totally different for I was used to it, but yeah, interesting. I learned a lot, and I'm sure that we are going to use a lot of these different methods that Tzviatko and I learned in our pets to get more things for our club. So yeah.
No, I think it was so it was my first time attending a pet seminar, and it's such a cool way to connect in one place with Rotarians from different clubs. I haven't been to too many large Rotary events, and this obviously was not a huge Rotary event, but I've only been to one district conference, and it was in East Africa. I lived in Kenya at the time, and the district conference was in Ethiopia, and that was such a cool experience. It was amazing, and that district as well encompassed several different countries. So people, not just me and others from Kenya, but nearly everybody traveled from a different place. But it's so cool to be able to talk to people and sort of exchange best practices. And I think the Rotarians here are very interested in hearing about, you know, an e-club that operates a little bit differently like ours. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised. People would, you know, in the beginning of the day, I was introduced as, you know, someone who's technically not from the district, but I'm attending the pets because I live here in Harare in Zimbabwe. And so throughout the day, I had people coming up to me and asking me, hey, so what is this Rotary Club of Silicon Valley? How do you do your meetings? How do you do your, you know, your service projects? How do you get to know your members? So I made sure I told them all about, you know, Coffee with a Rotarian, and how our members are encouraged to do service, whether they're in the Silicon Valley or elsewhere, whether they partner with other Rotary clubs to do that or just do it on their own. But I found that people are very interested in hearing about a new, different, innovative approach to Rotary. Yeah.
To give the members of our club a comparison,
Yeah.
I have attended two pets. Both were held in Seattle over a weekend of basically 3 days. And there was it was called the Pacific West Pets, and you had people from all the way from Alaska to Oregon, through most of British Columbia, Yukon, Washington State, Oregon, and who attended. We had probably about well over 1,000 people who attended. It was a 2-day event, which and what it did was it allowed us to have a large number of breakout groups.
Yeah.
Like each area, for instance, on membership, you would have you had to attend 2 breakout groups on membership from different perspectives.
Yeah.
And they went through all the various different, besides membership, they went through things like branding, they went through updating your club in terms of technology, all of these types of things. And also there was a focus where you had to take part of the session on the foundation, and so that you understood the basic rules of obtaining, going and obtaining a grant and things like this, and what the money was used for. And it was a very the event on the Saturday, for instance, started about 8:30 in the morning, where we had a speaker for breakfast. And it extended right through to about 8 o'clock at night, where we had a speaker for dinner. And it was very intense. One of the main rules or things that I got out of PETS on both occasions that I was attended was that what happens for you right now, Tzviatko, until July 1st is the most important period of time of your year. Now, if you're planning on doing anything, all the pre-planning has to be completed before July the 1st.
Yeah.
And because what you'll find is, if you're not doing that pre-planning, then what will end up happening is by the time you get started doing your planning in July, you'll finish that planning in April, and your year will be over.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. It's an intense time, but I'm sure it's it's gonna pay off as more planning is done now, and come up with some solid action items for throughout the Rotary year.
Yeah, and it's like putting on a play. And you do all the prep work first of all, and all the actors and everything are all lined up for their roles. And on July 1st is the first performance. And you keep repeating that performance, and very quickly the year is over.
Yeah.
And if you were to ask Andrew today, or Mitty, or whatever, this experience of what I'm talking to you about, they will greatly confirm.
Yeah.
Because your year passes extremely quickly.
Yeah.
And so in summary, the best advice that I can give to you, what you do now from today to July the 1st is the most important thing that you can do for your Rotary year.
Well, thanks for that, Roger.
Now, is there any other questions? Now, if you're a visitor or a member of the club, please fill out the comment section at the bottom of this meeting, and Tzviatko will come on and answer any of the questions that you may have for him dealing with his experience at PETS in Zimbabwe. If you are a guest or a member as well, please do not forget to fill out the attendance form. And as a guest, if you fill in your correct email address, we will forward out to you a receipt of attendance, which you can then give to your club secretary, which will register as a makeup. Now, as is our standard practice, I'm going to turn the meeting back to Tzviatko for what I would call his last words of wisdom in regards to his program. Take it away, Tzviatko.
Thanks so much, Roger. So as a last word of wisdom, I just want to encourage everyone in our club to let the leadership know of any ideas, any suggestions, any concerns they might have about anything related to our club. We all want to make sure that it's the best it can be for all of our members, those in the Silicon Valley and those anywhere else in the world. And I'm going to try my best to make sure that that's the case. And I'm really excited about this process, really excited for July 1st and beyond, and for the process, for the time between now and July 1st, because it seems like I still have quite a lot of work preparation-wise. But thank you, Roger and Shags and Rushton and all the others that have offered advice and help. I'll be coming to you with questions. So thank you so much, and I'm really excited for the next Rotary year.
Good.